Are you feeling stuck, lost, or unsure of your path? What if I told you that deep inside, you already have the answers? In this episode, we're going to dive deep into creating clarity and fueling that motivation so that way you can live the life that you were meant to live. If you are ready to shift from confusion to confidence, stick with us. Hey everyone, John here. 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 Welcome to the Leaders Leading Leaders podcast. Hey everyone, John here. Welcome to the Leaders Leading Leaders podcast. In this episode, we're going to talk about why creating clarity is going to help you either find your purpose or define your purpose. One of the biggest struggles that we all face is answering the question, who am I? What am I here for? What am I meant to do? And where do I even start? And if you've asked yourself those questions recently or in the last 6 months, this episode is going to be for you. We're going to unpack 3 key steps and 3 key action items that is going to help you create clarity and embrace the purpose that you were meant to achieve. So let's get started. The first topic I want to talk about today is answering the question, why clarity is so important to find your purpose. And clarity is not just about knowing. Clarity is about understanding. We've heard Simon Sinek talk about the why. You have to find purpose. Purpose comes not just from knowing your purpose, but also understanding. And the reason why understanding is important is because times are going to get tough. The workout plan that you set for yourself, when you get sore, you're not going to want to go and hit that leg day again or do those stretches. Or if you're training, you're not going to want to go do that 5 miles today. So you have to understand why it's important. One of the things that people make a big mistake on is external validation. They think that money, status, notoriety is their purpose. And when that money fades and that title goes away and the notoriety, people forget what's left. You may be asking yourself, what do I do now? You may be in that season of life where you are changing. It may be a job change. It may be going back into school for the first time in a long time. It may be contemplating retirement. It may be starting up that hobby, that side gig as a business that you've always wanted to do. You have to have purpose for that. Don't make the mistake of validating yourself with money, status, or notoriety, because those things can fall. And then we have to go back to figure out what our purpose is. The steps that we're going to cover today, you can use over and over again. So I want you to take out your journal, take out a sheet of paper. If you're driving, just bookmark this episode so you can go back and listen whenever you're at a place where you can journal this down. It's going to be important that you write these things down that we're going to talk about today. I'm going to have some action items after each one of these topics, and it's going to, again, help you clear up your purpose, and that's going to allow you to embrace the person that you were meant to be. So think about Steve Jobs. And for those of you out there that don't know who Steve Jobs is, he was the founder and creator of Apple. I'm sure everybody knows Apple today through the iPhone, the iPad, the iWatch, all the iDevices. But that wasn't Steve Jobs' purpose. When he started Apple, it wasn't to get a cell phone in everybody's hands. Steve Jobs wanted to redefine the way that we interact with technology. And if I asked anybody out there that had any Apple products whatsoever, what do you think they'd say? What would you say? He probably did a great job of that. But that's what I mean. It's not just about knowing. It's about understanding your purpose. And Steve Jobs understood. He was very clear with his purpose of the company and the direction that he felt Apple needed to take. So a couple questions just to get the blood flowing and your mind moving. If I guaranteed you success in anything that you wanted to accomplish, what would you do? Write that question down and answer it. The reason why I ask it that way is because that opens up the door. We always put roadblocks in front of us. We are our worst critic. It's either we don't have enough time, we don't have enough money, we don't have enough resources, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't have enough knowledge to start whatever I want to start. But if that wasn't an option, we're guaranteed success, what would you do? Write that down. So I want you to write down 3 things that light you up. Think about those things as, again, if success was not an option, what would you go do? What are the things that energize you? What are the things that bring you energy? When you do them, it's almost effortless. Write those 3 things down. The first question of why clarity is essential for finding purpose is that you have to understand the why in order to create that clarity in the direction that you want to go and the way that you are going to get there. So let's dive into the second topic. The second topic we're going to talk about is overcoming those mental blocks. Who has mental blocks? On a day-to-day basis, you're looking right at the biggest critic of himself. What happens between my left ear and my right ear have stopped me too many times, but I have vowed that that's not going to stop me anymore. That wasn't going to stop me from hitting record on the camera and pushing out this message. And we're going to talk a little bit about why I found purpose in starting this podcast, creating this YouTube channel, and getting to talk to each and every one of you 3 times a week in each one of these episodes. You know, one of the things that has created mental blocks for me going back even when I was young was fear of the unknown, fear of not knowing, fear of saying the wrong thing. And that was a huge mental block that prevented me from doing a lot of the things that I wanted to do. One of the other reasons that stopped me was that doubt that crept in. Even when I had started, even when I had gone through, convinced myself, got started, purchased that subscription, bought that new weight bench, or started that new job, filled out that resume, that doubt crept in. Am I good enough? Do I know? Is everybody going to figure out that I'm a phony, that I don't know what I'm talking about? And part of that is the third piece to this, comparison. We like to compare ourselves with others. And where we get into trouble is when we compare our day 1 to somebody else's day 60 or day 90. They've had 3 months to get ahead, to make the mistakes, to learn, but yet we feel it's important for us to compare ourselves to them. Maybe you're just starting out in a job and it takes you a while to figure out all the answers. It takes you a while to look at the process, pull up the process document and follow that process. It takes you a while maybe to do the financial side of your business or the marketing side of your business. You are really good at doing the operation or vice versa because we like to compare ourselves. Even within our teams, we like to compare ourselves. I remember when I was learning how to be an instructor and to stand up in front of people, deliver a message, work off of a lesson plan, I would watch other instructors teach their lessons, and it was seamless. They would stand up there, they'd move around the room, they'd make eye contact, they'd stay, where they were supposed to stay in their lesson plan, work their media. It was just so natural, and I was very critical of myself. I'll never get there. There's no way that I can stand up in front of a group of people and deliver a message without reading from my notes or missing a question or not knowing an answer to a question. But again, I was comparing myself. Some of these instructors that I was working with, they had been instructing for 5+ years. They had made the mistakes. They had fumbled. They had those words that they continually, or maybe the ums or the uhs, They got rid of all of those because of the reps. They had more reps up there teaching, perfecting their trade. So don't let comparison block you from going and achieving your purpose or creating clarity. One of the things that I did early on in my career is I had to rethink what failure was. Failure was not rejection. When I applied for the job after the restaurant shut down, Jen and I had lost 100% of our income, and I didn't get that call center job. It wasn't because I was being rejected. I was being redirected. It gave me the ability to challenge myself, not take the easy way out, but go into the hospital environment where that's where I wanted to go. So for me, I had to change the way I thought about failure. And I still today, that sticks with me. Failure isn't about rejection. It means that you're just redirected. There's something to learn from that. So make sure anytime you get that mental block and you failed there and you start to doubt yourself, you start to compare yourself to somebody that had been doing whatever you want to do and you want to get really good at, but they've been doing it for a long time. Remember that you will fail, but that's just another opportunity for you to get up and continue to try. So one of the questions here that I've asked myself is, I don't know what my purpose is. I've failed too many times. The restaurant closed on us. That door closed. Medical school, my GPA just wasn't there. That door closed. I went into training. I was an imposter in training world. I really did not know what I needed to know, but that didn't stop me. I continued to learn. My purpose drove me. The purpose for me to show up every day, learn from others, and do the best that I possibly can. My purpose to provide for my family, something bigger than me, drove me when that doubt started to settle in. Because again, it's not about knowing, it's about understanding. And when we understand something, that's when we can go around it, above it, below it, whatever that obstacle and that challenge is, we find a way to conquer. We find a way to win. And that goes back to our topic this season of building resiliency. We build upon our successes. One of the other things that I want you guys to think differently about is don't think about the statement, I don't know my purpose. I want you to reframe that thought to, I am figuring out, I'm defining my purpose every single day. Little different way of thinking about it, right? I don't know my purpose. I'm a novice. I'm figuring out my purpose every single day. I'm working towards understanding my purpose in life. And that is going to bring you clarity, I promise. So action item for this topic, words of affirmation. Words of affirmation are critical in creating the identity that we need to be successful. When I use words like, I am complacent, I am a procrastinator, I am a failure, we convince ourselves that that is who we are. That's part of our identity. So when we get a mental block, what do we start doing? We get down on ourselves. Here we go again, John. I knew we shouldn't have started this. I knew we shouldn't have gone that direction. You start questioning yourself. Guess what? Builds and it builds and it builds, and it becomes part of our identity that we can't get the job done. So I want you to write down the words I am ... Then you are going to come up with at least 4 things that finishes that sentence. Example, I am successful. I am an instructor. I can do this. I will achieve. You see where I'm going here? Words of affirmation help drive our identity, and say it out loud. I want you to hear yourself saying this. That's going to go a long way in creating that confidence for us to be able to continue to work towards our purpose. So I am ... Come up with 3 to 4 things to finish that sentence. And then say it to yourself for a week. You can do it in the morning, you can do it in the afternoon, whenever you want to do it. You can 2 to 3 times during the day. You're going to verbalize those 3 to 4 sentences. Okay, try that out. Last but not least, we're going to talk about aligning with your purpose. One of the most frustrating things for you can occur when we start to get out of alignment. When things aren't congruent, we start to feel that uneasiness, complacency. Maybe you're stuck, maybe the hamster wheel of life, those types of things I hear people say. And a lot of times it's because we aren't aligned with our purpose. So one of the things that I want you to think about here when we talk about alignment is purpose isn't a destination. It's a practice. We are going to find our purpose every single day. Not at the end of the day, not at the end of the year. It's not a destination. It goes back to the notoriety and the money. Because once we hit that, guess what? Now what's next? Who am I? Do you have to reinvent yourself over and over and over again? So purpose is not a destination. It's a journey. It's a practice that we are going on. The way I recommend to align with your purpose are those small incremental steps that you are going to take every single day. And I have 3 things for you. Write these down. Passion, strengths, and impact. So passion. What excites you? Go back to what we did in first one. What lights you up? That would be what you're passionate about. Okay, so what excites you? With strengths, what are you good at? What are the things that come more easy to you? And then last but not least, impact. How can you go serve others with your gifts? So for example, when I was looking to create this podcast, I asked myself these 3 things. What am I passionate about? I'm passionate about helping others get to where they're going. All my life, my mom, my dad, my grandparents, they were all servant leaders. They were all in the service industry, helping others. That's all I saw. That's what I grew up around. And they were very good and they were very happy. So for me, that's what I knew. I grew up wanting to help others, wanting people to have more. So when I wanted to start this podcast, I want to help you not make the same mistakes that I made throughout my life. That was an important part. In the title, Leaders Leading Leaders, helping others get to where they're going, our philosophy, it's embedded in there. That is what excites me on a day-to-day basis and keeps me going, even a year later. Now the second part, strengths. I mentioned I was an instructor at one time. I did not like standing up in front of people. I didn't even like, it wasn't until graduate school when I actually would sit up towards the front of the class and we were forced to do group presentations. So I got pretty good at standing up, delivering a message, but I was still uneasy about that. So when I got an instructor job, which by the way, I had all the instructional design and training background, I didn't have so much of the teaching background, but the position required me to teach. So I had to use those skills and those qualities that I had been practicing up to that point. But I still wasn't 100%. But I did that for almost 7 years. And guess what? I got pretty good at it. So when I was going back through, figuring out what I was passionate about, I knew I wanted to help others get to where they're going. One of my strengths was delivering a message, breaking it down and talking about it, telling stories, that sort of thing. So that's why for me, a podcast just made sense. And then the last, impact. What other way that we could impact others by recording and putting these out there on YouTube, on the web, creating our socials, all the things that we have done, because that is my gift. That is my gift to you. My gift of my failures, my gift of authenticity, my gift of being vulnerable. And it all goes back to maybe just one person out there hears something and they don't make the same mistake, or they get a glimmer of hope that I can do this. John failed many times. And for me, even to say that chokes me up a little bit. That's how passionate I am about helping others get to where they're going. And I am truly blessed to have gifts to go serve others. And that's my alignment. Like, I feel more aligned and more full as a person than I have in 43 years. And I can say it's because of that alignment that helps me feel that. So the exercise here that I want you to take is, I want you, again, on your piece of paper or in your journal, I want you to identify one action that you're going to get done this week that is going to help you move towards your purpose. So that's your third action or takeaway that I want you to write down. So let's go back over what we talked about. Clarity and why is it essential? Remember, clarity isn't just about knowing. It's about understanding. The action out of that topic are 3 things that light you up. What are you passionate about? The next topic we talked about was overcoming mental blocks. Here, it's that fear that we have or the comparison of us to others. So remember, failure is not rejection, it's just redirection. And the exercise, the takeaway from this point is words of affirmation. So the I am ... and then you're going to fill out 3 to 4 things. I want you to complete that sentence. I want you to repeat it to yourself at least once a day for a week. And then last but not least, making sure that you are aligned with your purpose. Here, we talked about that it's not a destination, it's a practice. So every day you are learning and getting better at achieving your purpose. You're going to talk about what you're passionate about, your strengths, and then the impact that you want to make. The exercise here was 1 action that you are going to take this week to move you closer to your purpose. I'm excited for all of you. Hopefully, this lesson created some clarity around purpose that you all have in your lives. So these things are moving you into action. Clarity does not come from waiting. It comes from action. So we can think all we want about being clear in what our purpose is, but until we start moving in that direction, only then can we really find our true purpose. I hope everybody could take away at least one thing from this episode. So remember, trust the journey, embrace the purpose, and I promise you will find greatness. I believe in you. Go be great. We'll talk to everyone later. Bye-bye. If you like what you're hearing, do us a favor. Click on that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, or leave a comment. That lets us know that what we are putting out benefits you. If you want additional information or resources or learn how to work with me, head on over to thejohnespinosa.com, because when we become better versions of ourselves, it helps us get others to where they're going. Go be great.